Alright, so again, you can work in both 2D maps and 3D scenes in Arc Pro. Just as a kind of broad overview, if you want to create a new map object, there are a couple different options in Pro. So again, creating a new map is going to be creating a 2D projected map surface. If you want to create a 3D space to work in, you can do a local scene. So that's generally for smaller extents, such as city scale, or global scenes where you're basically working on top of a digital globe. Another new addition is the concept of creating a base map. So you can create a base map object, edit it, produce layers, symbology, so on and so forth, and then that new base map will be available to use in your different maps and scenes within your project file. It is also possible to convert 2D layers into a 3D layer or object. So basically turning points into lines, lines into planes or areas, and polygons into volumes. And that can be accomplished using the Layer 3D to Feature class tool. Whenever you take a two-dimensional object and you turn it into a 3D object in Pro, there's a couple sets of terms you should probably be aware of. So extrusion is the process of taking a flat object and extruding it to a height using a z value. So for example, these objects were basically just polygons, and I've extruded them to a height based on an attribute in their attribute table. A block is a flat object that has been extruded to transform it into an object with a z value or height, so basically going from a 2D to a 3D object. And then offset is used when you want to extrude a feature above the ground level. So these are generally for features that aren't on the ground, so for example a bridge or something. Whenever you extrude an object, there are different methods that you can use to apply a z value to that object. This table defines some of those different options. And then there's a link here for an Esri page that explains it in more detail. So you'll have to think through how you're presenting your data and which of these methods make the most sense. This is also a new introduction, so you're into Pro. So you're able to link a 2D map and a 3D scene so that when one changes, the other changes, and vice versa. So you can link the center, and you can also link the center and the scale. So if you just link the center, each map will maintain the same center, but not necessarily the same scale. If you also link the scale, then as one zooms in or out, the other will zoom in or out. So here, for example, I have a 2D map of the point area in Pittsburgh, and then a 3D map of the same data. And if I link them, they will basically move together as you navigate or change the scale or the center of either of these maps or scenes. Okay, so that brings us to task 6, which is to create a 3D scene. So effectively, you're going to generate this scene, which will include creating a local scene from the Pittsburgh map, so converting a map or creating a scene from a map, extruding the buildings out using a attribute column, and then linking the 2D and 3D map. So you're going to end up with something like this to accompany your 2D map.